All right. Just thinking about making this video today because I'm trying to find a decent spot away from all that sunshine. It's a beautiful day. All right. Okay. Now we're going to get into a place here. Some thinking. For 2 days, you watched me spiral into episodes of hopelessness and helplessness, kind of a depression. You've seen it. You've seen it in my face. You've seen the energy in my cause, in what I'm trying to do as far as wake the general public up to an illness that is concentrated on men who have been in and out of the system. I gave you timelines and cases that took me into the system. The did do's, the didn't do's. I gave you some of the dids, a few of them. And some of the didn't do's, you know, that you could probably only imagine how that would affect a man. You know, that his life would drastically change for something that he didn't do. And then when you get into situations that you did do, you're kind of in a trance to it all. I think that's the best way to describe it. Trance. You're in a trance. You're like just floating along in this life, this place that you really don't know how you got there, but you're there. Only it's your life. So you're just floating in it like it's your life. As a child, you have all these dreams. And then you veer off in another direction somehow. I would imagine that my detour had a lot to do with that very first case. In no way do I want anyone to think that I'm in some kind of a pity pot or anything like that. What I feel, I'm hoping that people who were in the system and feel like I feel, my only suggestion to you is look up post-incarceration syndrome. Look it up. It is in that paperwork that is so prevalent. You will find the connecting stones, the connecting blocks to give you an idea to, if you get, when you're making choices that you feel like you don't have options, and you're making choices that you have made in the past that are pattern that are part of a pattern, which inevitably sets the stage for prison. Bad choices, bad choices, patterns. Um, you really start to make these choices without your awareness. You're not aware, and I was already falling in that path. I was already falling into it. You know, um, I'm grateful that I have a really, really special friend praying for me. That I was able to look at what I was doing, feeling that hopelessness and helplessness, like the whole world was just on top of me again. Um, I left the hospital the day before yesterday against all medical advice, against friends' advice, because I was starting to feel the effects of post-incarceration syndrome, the patterns, the uh, the effects. I started to feel these things, and they were dictating my movement against people who want to help me. They don't want to help me in the way that was always a worry of mine. Like I said, structure, um, stability, security. They just wanted to help the immediate problem, which was get me healthy again. Because I'm sick. I mentioned that. I'm sick. Sick. I have a physical ailment, cancer, that is making me sicker. It's getting me sicker. And I was completely just dismissing that, which is very important. I was dismissing that, and I started to go along the path of, I'll take care of this, I'll do this, when this is not something that I can do. You know, I put up my hands and submit to the immediate attention my body needs, the medical attention, so that I can continue to voice my agenda. And my agenda is simple, to change policies of the judicial system, the Department of Corrections. Um, you can't just, put people in prison and not do what needs to be done to address why they keep coming to prison. And expect this miracle change, you know. That's like waiting for the second coming, you know. Bolt the lightning. No, you have to help this person along. You have to break down these barriers that are created so that this person can learn how to trust again, how to think again, how to perform in a better way, in a higher level, you know? How to, if he's a father, to teach him how to be a father, how to lead, how to guide, how to help his children make choices that are going to benefit them, that are going to help them along in their lives on a good place. Because what you're doing is the kind of guidance that you are giving men is they're giving their children the kind of guidance to not trust the authorities. So in all actual reality, the police departments are being victimized by you too, the criminal justice system, because your policies are creating these monsters that are coming out into the system, and the police are the enemy, and this is what's in his mind. The authorities are the enemy, and you're giving the police department more work to do, because now they're dealing with these people. Even though you got some cops that are gung ho, and but you got some cops that are truly there to protect and serve, you know which they want to be a part of the community. I'm always really, really happy to see when cops are getting involved in the community, and dealing with the kids, working with the kids, so that they can present themselves as who they really are. This is a police force. This is a force that is made to protect, to in a way nurture, to help kids see that that they're there for them. But how can this child believe that this officer is there for them when that same uniform rips their father right there in front of them? Because their father is suffering from something that he is not even yet in full knowledge of. His own behaviors, his own awareness, his own stuff. PICS is something that to me is very, very serious. PICS, post-incarceration syndrome, is something that's extremely serious, because everything that I read in this paperwork, which I have it right here, I'm going to give it to the doctors today. I'm going to give it to the doctors and the social workers because they're still not fully aware of it. And see it, PICS. And I think that they saw a crash course through my episode within the past 2 days of that abyss that I was diving into. That hopelessness, helplessness, that feeling of abandonment, the triggers that it talks about in this paper. I was literally feeling like, why would I want to live to continue on this process, this thing that I deal with every day, which is myself and the elements around me that seem to overwhelm me. The things that you people out there, the general public, find normal, I see Struggle. I see struggle. Like there's no end to that struggle. I just wanted to share that with you people. I was given another number today to some attorneys. I'm hoping that these attorneys can hear what I've been trying to tell people, that a change needs to be made. You know, for those of you who are involved in the movement, Black Lives Matter, and things along those lines, we need to go deeper, man. We need to go into the system. We need to start getting into the system, because the cops are just acting out. We know that they're doing horrible things. We do that. There are some that are really not supposed to be wearing that uniform. But there are many correctional officers that should not be wearing that one either. There are policies in the Department of Corrections that should not exist. Policies that are causing deep damage to that person that you watch in the street, getting pulled over by the police and becoming combative. 9 times out of 10, those people have been in the system. So their guards are already up. Or they've just seen it on a child of a man who's been in the system and have seen it firsthand. That uniform is an enemy. It's a uniform. It's a badge. It's an enemy. That's not the truth. Those badges were given to men and women to protect and serve, to give the general public a sense of safety, a sense of, livelihood, that they can live in peace, That's what it really is. I think the police department would do themselves well to start getting involved in what the treatment is like in the prison system, because it will help their job. It would help them. Men should not be coming out of the system more messed up than before. And if it's the first time for someone going into the system, it always should be the last. It always should be the last. It should be that first stop in his life to reevaluate, and then given the tools to not do what he did to get there. And for those people who have already been in and out and in and out and in and out, they are now dealing with a very, very fine line between normal and really sick, mentally sick. Mentally sick. but not the kind of sickness that is incurable. It just involves guidance. It involves reprogramming. It involves restructuring the mind to think, clearly, to respond well. Personal things, issues, to problem solve. The Department of Corrections is not equipped to provide these things. So what needs to happen is social workers. Social workers need to be implemented inside the system. A person's time, let's say he gets sentenced to 2 years, his reintegration should start immediately within those 2 years. That is 2 years' time to rebuild this man so that when he comes out, he is not that man that came in. So reintegration should start the moment he walks through the door. There should be social workers. His AOP or whatever IOP should be, his patterns and what he's done to continuously come back, so that they can break that cycle from the very beginning, not 30 days before he's getting ready to be released, and then thrown out into the world to go and find programs. It's already too late for him once he's out in the world. Now he has to worry about everything else. He doesn't have time to be going to some kind of programs, stuff like that. He's got to worry about the basic needs, the eat, the roof over his head, telecommunications, a telephone. Telephones now are extremely, this isn't a luxury. This is a need. A phone is a need. And you have to pay for this. And, Obama phones just ain't going to do it, because when you ever made a phone call and they tell you, and they didn't say, can you hold for a minute? 500 minutes, just 500 minutes on one of them free phones just does not cut it. Because every call you make, can you hold for a minute? That's 5-10 minutes gone right there. 500 minutes will go in a day, 2 days maybe. With, can you hold for a minute? So it was an attempt, but you need to go all the way with something like that. Especially when there are so many communication services that are unlimited and cheap. So I lost my way for a couple of days. I fell into an abyss, but I'm scratching out of it today so that I can make better choices. And one of my choices are to get my ass to a hospital, because I'm gonna die if I don't. And I got too much work to do to die. I got too much work to do.